We're back on set for our patio pond installation. The next step that we have to do is we have to install a spitter or some kind of tubes that bring water from the upper bog down into the lower pond. Now, the homeowner that I'm dealing with was super excited and anxious to try and find an antique faucet or some kind of interesting trinket to bring the water from the upper pond down into the lower pond through that face of the wood. Now, we kind of struck out finding an old piece, so we're going with his second best choice, which is some copper spillways or some copper tubes to bring the water back through, because the copper looks really pretty when it gets a patina on there and it shows some age and some weathering. Now, before we go and install the copper, I want to talk about copper and its effects on the water and effects on the fish. Now, back in the day when pennies were really made of copper and people treated koi ponds as a wishing well and they would flick the pennies into there, copper levels could get really high and it could be dangerous for the fish. One thing I want to point out is one of the dangers of copper is if you have a soft water or a low pH, copper can become very sensitive on the fish. And where we're located right here, we have a very hard, high alkaline, high pH, so copper is not as dangerous to fish in that regard. And then this is primarily going to be a goldfish pond as well, and the goldfish are a whole lot more tolerant. Now, we're going to have 3 spillways that are going to come through, and one is going to be a little half-inch spillway. It's going to be really a trickle. So when you're out on the patio, it's very calming and peaceful. And then we're going to have this 1-inch pipe as an overflow. And the majority of the water that's traveling through the bog filter will flow in back to the pond below water level and won't make a sound. Now, we're going to have a third element in there as well, because things look better in 3s, but it's also going to be our safety overflow, because the main feed that water is going to be traveling through, roots might be prone to going to it. It'll be maintained every now and then to keep the roots from invading on it. But let's say we neglect it a little bit, we're going to have the overflow set up to where if the roots get clogged, the overflow will become active and water will start to make more noise as it pours into the pond, and it'll be like an alarm to say, hey, we need to do some maintenance on the roots. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Let's get started. All right, so we're going to have the 3 spouts coming through this panel right here. And we're gonna come in pretty low, because actually the bottom of the bog is way down here and the top of the bog is around here. So I want to be sure I come down low so my water level is not too high in the bog filter. Now, the first one we're going to do right in the center, and we've measured 34 inches in between here. So I'm going to come in at 17 inches. I'll make a mark. See that mark there? And I'm going to come up about, say, an inch. So that'll be our centerpiece right here, where our little spout's going to come through. And then I don't really want these guys to be equal. I'm going to offset these guys a little bit. So one's going to be there, and the same on this side. So this is about 5 inches, I would say. Yeah, we're going to come in at about 5 inches. And I want these guys to be a little bit taller. I don't want them to be at the same level. So this is going to be 5-inch mark here. And I'm going to come up about 1.5 inches, say 1.75 inches. So there's where we're going to mark that one. So 1.75 inches by 5. We come in here. We got 5. And then 1.75 inches. Mark that. So there's our marks. I want you to notice that I've got my little hole saw, and this is the spout that's going to come through. A petite little 1/2 inch here for the main feed as the trickling effect, and then I have my other hole saw that I've spec'd out. You see it fits in there nice, not too tight, not too loose, and that'll be for the overflow and the main feed. So let's get these things drilled out. think that's going to look real nice. When it's all said and done, we're going to have these little turnabouts like this, dropping the water down. That's going to work real nice. I dropped the tank back into place for the bog filter, so I can come in here and I can mark where these bulkheads need to be, so I can be precise. Now I'll pull the tank back out and I'll drill those and install those bulkheads. Before I drill, I just want to double check on the right bulkhead size. I got a 1/2 inch here in the middle, and then do the 2 3/4 on the outside. And these guys have both the same diameter bulkhead. So the same drill bit's going to work on all 3. Clean these guys up with my knife just a little bit.
To the glacial ice and desert so dry, down to the ocean ridge where smokers rise. We're searching for the origin